Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learn From Us podcast. This is Seth. This is Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Seth, what's going on, buddy?
We were just talking 7 seconds before this, and I just have to ask you, what's up, bro? So coaching is huge in this world.
Yeah, it's big time.
Consulting, coaching.
But genuine coaching.
It's getting enormous. Well, no. I mean, the point is you don't have to be much of a coach nowadays. I think people are still hiring. This is enormous. I come from the photography world, and it's a strange business. Most people get into it without a lot of training, or vice versa. They go to college for 4 years and they come out with the same amount of training as people who, it's weird. And nowadays, photographers are shifting to life mentors, coaching, consultants, whatever you want to call them. And do you think there's other avenues that people, this is a big thing nowadays, right? Education, coaching.
Of course.
Where else are you seeing it? Has there always been business consulting? People
Yeah, there always
like
has been, but it's easier with the internet to get your name out there and fake a lot of things, right?
Well, that's one of the problems, yes. And so one of my major photography friends in the business who runs like $1 zillion business, he said on Facebook last week that masterclass is probably going to be the most overused word nowadays.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People who are claiming they're masters, offering master classes, which might very well be me one day.
Yeah, it's fine with me because you have a rep behind you. You know what I mean? You have a portfolio behind you. It's just the people who are making bullshit up. We were talking about before this. I didn't realize how much learning was going to be important to me in my life back in the day. And now I have how many coaches for things, right? Like literally everything I do, I go, okay, I'm going to go hire a coach to help me. And the reason is I just want to get better at stuff. I get a lot of satisfaction out getting better at stuff. Yesterday we played basketball. So I hired a basketball coach. I wasn't going to tell many people about this, but by the time this comes out, I'll probably be
dunking on people.
Easily. I mean, I'll probably be.
Where'd you find this coach?
What's it called? Coach Up, the app.
What?
Yeah, you know that app?
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's great. Steph Curry's an investor.
Coach Up.
Coach Up.
Now, I know you're watching Steph Curry's new putt-putt golfing show.
He has a putt-putt golfing show?
Well, I think they mix like putt-putt golf and like American Ninja Warrior kind of together. It's strange. They have just two screaming announcers.
That sounds like 30 Rock.
It's on
makeup.
NBC. I'm like,
Exactly.
Who's funding this shit? But anyway, keep going.
Coach Up.
Coach Up.
Capital U.
Coach Up. What's it do?
You just look on there for basketball coaches.
Who'd you find?
This guy.
Oh, how descriptive.
I shall not release.
You can't tell who he is?
I just want to keep him to myself.
What if he wants more business?
Well, then he can ask me for more business.
Wow.
He used to play in Europe and China. Young guy. So we had our first session on Saturday. And Seth, I was dying. I mean, he had me doing these dribbling drills. Like I'm bouncing balls, still styrofoam balls up in the air, passing to myself and all that stuff. So he looked at my shot. So we didn't even do a shot until so it's an hour-long session. He stayed for an hour and 15. Meanwhile, at the hour mark, I'm like, aren't you done now? He's like, just a few more. I'm like, but I only pay you for the hour. He's like, just a few more things. So finally we get to the shot, and I had no jump. And we talk about that all the time. Like I have no legs in my shot. So yesterday when we played, I left a few short, but far fewer than before.
Yeah.
In fact, I sent quite a few too far. Just from doing a minor adjustment on how I took the ball, my position when I take the ball, and how I shoot. And it's been wonderful. I mean, you saw I only missed one shot from the wings yesterday, I think.
Wings. You're your wing player.
I like I wung it from the wing. And he's great though, because I just sat there and realized with basketball, I don't have confidence in my dribbling and I don't have confidence in my 3 shot. So I was like, listen.
What's he charge an hour?
It's pretty pricey. He comes to me though, and it's $75 for the hour.
Well, that's not crazy, bro.
Oh, you don't think so?
I mean, tennis is 67. I have to go to them.
Yeah, you're right.
75 to come to the door. That's pretty good.
And he stayed a long. Well, it's not for the hour because he stayed for like an hour and 15. I told him like, hey, listen, next time just
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating when I say I was like more exhausted I've ever been, even working out with weights and things like that.
Basketball training.
Yeah, because he's just like, so one of the things we did was right in front of the rim. I had to put up 150. I had to make 150 shots right in front of the rim. I had to make 150 shots. I try 100, and it's literally like I shoot and the ball's in my stomach again because he has another ball waiting for me. Like my shoulders were killing me. Then from the wings, he had me make 10 shots from the wings.
I love this guy.
I had to sprint back and forth. and then it's dribbling. Yeah, you should. I mean, literally, like,
dude, let's do it together.
You want to do it together?
Yes.
Okay, then Saturday at 4, my house.
Wow. All right, let me write this down. You know, I don't have enough stuff going on.
I know that's the thing. Like, so.
Listen, I want to get my kid involved.
Sure Saturday at 4 o'clock. Well, I think it's a different session. It's a different session for the kids. It is. He told me, he goes, Paul, he's like, what I'm doing with you, I don't do till like the 25th session with kids.
Yeah, sure.
It's totally different. So, but man, he had me doing these like ladder things and back and forth with dribbling.
Ladders,
and I was just, I mean, when I have a big basketball in one hand, I have a little small styrofoam ball in the other hand, and I'm trying to bounce them both at the same time. And I'm like bouncing both of them, do the switch over for the basketball while I tap the other one in the air, do the other switch over and catch it. I mean, it was crazy. I was just like, this is insane. Like, he's showing me these things. I'm like, bro. He's like, do it. And sure enough, you do it. Yesterday went down Sunday went down after my golf round, and just to try some of the things he did, I was like, wow, I'm much more comfortable just bouncing balls. Like, I realized I dribble like this as opposed to like this.
Yeah.
For folks who are not watching this, I'm slapping my hands versus using my arm movement. And I'm now using the arm movement more. So it's about, as he talked about, it's about dribbling the ball and not realizing the ball is there. He's like, you got to get so comfortable with the ball, you're not even thinking about the ball. You're thinking about where you're going.
Yeah, yeah. I have a wedding on Saturday, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
Louisville.
Oh, down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So either way, I hired that coach. I have a tennis coach.
Tell me about all the coaches you have. Basketball,
tennis, guitar, chess.
It's true.
And
business?
We have a consultant, but I'm just talking about the personal level.
Oh.
Investing coach, essentially. I have another one. What else do I do? Chess, basketball, tennis. Either way, I hire somebody because I look at it and think to myself, I grew up thinking to myself, oh, if you're good at something, you're going to be good at it, right? I mean, we just always looked at kids and said, oh, you're good at this. You're just naturally talented. And then when you realize, this guy told me that the average pro will shoot 1,000 shots a day. Not even including game day, just practicing 1,000 shots. That's 365,000 shots a year, Seth. Isn't that incredible?
The average pro?
That's what he said. Because these pros are doing that. Because I said to him, I go, how many are they shooting right before the game? He goes, oh, easily 300 or 400 right before the game.
Wow.
And I just got to get, my whole thing was I got to get better. I want to be the best basketball player on our Wednesday night league. That's my goal.
So the problem I always have is without a coach, I end up just shooting the same shit shot 1,000 times.
So as he told me what his dad said, when he would put up a bad shot, his dad would say, why'd you put up a bad shot? Wait for the better shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I wonder how much of, when we see basketball players, like the difference between 40 and 45% field goal percentage, or 42 and 47 might just be, it's 1 in 20 shots difference. That's all it is. They're making one extra shot out of every 20. But yet the 47% versus 42% of their contracts can be astronomically different. Making one extra, they're just making better choices with their shots. I shouldn't say that. That's not only what they're doing, but that's a big factor. So yesterday, the one thing I didn't make sure I did was I didn't put up any, unless we had to make a shot, I wasn't trying to put up bad shots. There were like 2 times I threw up those bad, like flat threes, but we were down like 9-4, 9-3, and I'm like, okay, we got to make something happen here.
I still put up bad shots.
Well, the only shot I have grief with you about is when you do that low post spin, jump away, fade away from the hoop thing. You make those a lot, but I'm like, but why try that shot? Like, there's so many other shots to try. You have everything going against you. You're fading. Your body's all the way. You have to go throw it high. It's just a hard shot in general. Nick does the same shot, by the way.
Yeah.
Big Nick.
I try to learn new shots. The idea of education, though, is so interesting. I'm trying to instill this in my kids, and we've talked about this before.
Well, they're kids.
You can just learn anything on YouTube. They don't even get it.
But the thing is, they're still kids.
I know you say this all the time.
They're still kids. What you can do is lead by example. You know what I mean? Not to be cheesy. But hey, look, Paul over there, he's a pretty successful guy. Look what he's doing. He hires a coach. Why? Because he wants to learn and get better. That's all you can do. I read a lot, right? For a reason.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to me to get these coaches. But it takes a lot of time now. I mean, look at that. If I do one of those a week, which I'm doing chess three times a week, I mean, we're talking about easily 8 or 9 hours a week that I'm just in coaching sessions. 8 or 9 hours a week. But if you think about it this way, it's only 5% of my week. There's 168 hours in the week. 3 chess, 1 tennis, 1 basketball, not even 1 investing. I mean, we're talking about 6 hours in the week, not even one half, not even 5%. And I look at it going, this is so awesome. I get to become good at stuff.
Yeah.
What do you want to become good at, Seth?
Gosh. Still a lot. I mean, talking to you, you've sort of invigorated the idea of how young we still are.
Oh, we're very young. Thanks for remembering my birthday, by the way, jerk.
Yeah, it was this weekend.
Yeah, well, it's Friday, actually.
I had no clue.
I know, that's okay. You're not supposed to know.
When's mine? Great.
February?
It is in February. No way you're going to get this.
I want to say 13th or 17th.
17th.
Boom.
See? You have a better memory than me. So I really want to get better at memory games.
Elevate.
What is it?
There's an app on your phone you can do, like, it's not for memory, it's just for learning, like, keeping your brain invigorated.
Yeah, Elevate.
Elevate.
Dude, you got all the apps, bro.
Listen, we have everything at our fingertips. Like you tell your kids, it's YouTube. It's right there.
I know.
It's YouTube.
What do I want to get better at? I mean, like
tennis. You have a tennis coach.
Yeah, I do.
Who's your tennis coach? You said Adam?
Well, I'm in pre-drills now, so
Oh,
I don't have a specific coach quite yet. I mean, I'm still just I've played tennis maybe a dozen times.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like,
but you loved it. You should have seen your intensity in Mexico. Like you were like, if I was making a joke, you were just ignoring me completely. You're just like, okay, 15 love.
Well, I'm normally not that one of these competitive guys, but
yes,
I do
you are.
Win. I don't think that bad.
Listen, it depends what bad means. Like you're not punching, babies.
Yeah. Punching babies, screaming and crying.
But like on the basketball,
blaming teammates.
But on the basketball court, you're like, okay, guys, let's go. Like this.
I do want to win.
That's true.
Yeah.
We had a great start last yesterday, and then we just fell off the face of the earth.
Oh my God.
Let's blame Luke since he's not here. Luke, you suck.
By the way, so what do I want to be good at? I mean, I enjoy tennis. Like, I've never taken a class on how to be a better dad. Probably should read something.
Maybe. You're pretty good dad, it seems.
Seems. They're turning out okay.
So, but Gio's on the corner selling dope to these kids in Wadsworth.
Wadsworth. Yeah, I mean, being in a relationship, you want to be better at that.
Do you guys work on that at all?
Work on it? I mean, I've gone through a transformation the past few years. It's trying to instill some new ideas into my life, working with the Focus 3 people in Columbus. Focus 3 is like a culture building company. And they work with companies to instill the idea of just slowing down a bit, thinking about, call it crazy, thinking about your actions, what you do, what you say, how you react to things. And so putting an emphasis on that of actually thinking about what I say to people. There's so many people. I mean, I'm sure you see there's so many people. It's like they just say things so quickly, and like I had that. We talked last podcast. I had that conversation. Getting into politics is just ridiculous because I know you love when people use words like always and most and all the time and every time and all of them. It's
guaranteed.
Like, it's like, bro, like I'd love to have a conversation with you, but if you're gonna say all of them. All of them are on welfare. All of them are criminals. And I'm just like, well, how many people do you know? Are they all on welfare too? No, my friends, they work. It's like, wait a minute, you just said all of them. Like, so it's like, well. So, but yeah, like just I don't know, man. I you seem to have more of a, how would I say it? You seem to have more of a idea of where you're at in the world. I still feel kind of lost with a lot of this stuff. Do you feel?
So once I stopped caring about it, life was a lot better. To me, it's just do what you want to do. Not irresponsibly, because I don't want somebody saying to me, well, Paul, if we all did what we do, okay, I got it.
They sound like that?
No, they all of them do. No. Well, what if we did this? Well, it's kind of like the thing when somebody says to me, Paul, on my deathbed, I'm not going to look back and say, I wish I worked harder. It's like, okay, but you also not going to sit there and say, like, I mean, I get it. There's a healthy balance for everything. But to me, I just sat there and thought, if I'm interested in something, let me go try it. I've hired a computer programming coach. That didn't last. That lasted 2 sessions. I was like, I don't like this. Mm-hmm. I've hired coaches and said, listen, this isn't for me. Oh, I have a personal trainer too. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
But I look at these things saying, to me, it's just trying things and you'll find things that stick. You'll find things that you like. It's just like running a business. You try 10 different marketing methods and the 2 or 3 that work, you stick with them and you go do more and then you try more. And it's no different for me in coaching. If I'm interested in something, I had a basketball coach 3 or 4 years ago, super nice guy. I did about 4 or 5 sessions with them, and I just didn't like it for some reason, I didn't like it as much. This guy's way more intense and way harder, but I can see myself also already going, okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
Like, I see how it's going to be pain, but it's also going to be very beneficial. It's just try things. If you want to learn something, try it.
I have a buddy in California that has a wedding album company, and he's all for some of our mutual friends starting these educational consulting sort of business life coach type things. And I'm still like trying to turn myself onto it a bit. Like, you know, again, if they have a good background, but sometimes they don't have to have this great, insane background to be able to teach.
That's the problem.
Is it always a problem? Because I swear some people always say, what's the joke? Well, if you can't do, you teach. And it's like, well, sometimes people are really great, but I guess
you still have to understand. You still have to have an understanding of it.
Wouldn't you agree that teaching and motivation is obviously somewhat similar?
Oh, very much so.
So someone doesn't have to have an amazing track record to motivate me.
However,
go on.
That's not then calling them, like, you can't say, I'm going to teach you how to run a photography business if you never run a photography business. Can you say, hey, I'm going to be a life coach to help you get to the point where you can go run your own business because you have the comp? That's wonderful. And even then I want to see, like, well, what have you motivated yourself to do? Well, I started a business. Great, let's do that. It's not, I'm not sitting there saying, because I do believe, listen, I'm a better consultant than I am a business person. This is the one thing I was telling you about before, about just right before this.
We were sitting talking about my new business, and Paul is a consultant with us.
And I said to him, you guys need to work on your communication. Do you know how I knew that? Because somebody else came into my business. I hired a consultant, and they came to me and said, yeah, you need to work on your communication. I'm like, holy shit, they're right. So these 3 people I spend every single day with, I talk to 20 times a day, we weren't communicating well. And I'm sure there's people out there listening going, how is that possible? Because there's a difference between talking and bullshitting and communicating. I have this concern. I have this great thing going on. I have this going on. This is what I'm doing. You know, those are the things you have to figure out. There's some things I don't care about communication on. I was talking to a builder friend of mine yesterday. We're doing some deals together. And he called me and goes, oh, yeah, I'm doing this and this with, that deal I'm doing with Andrew. I go, what deal with Andrew? He's like, oh, you know this? I'm like, oh, I have no clue. He's like, how do you not know? Because I'm like, because I trust Andrew. Andrew doesn't need to communicate that with me because we already have built up the trust there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if Andrew had a problem with this guy where he wasn't able to get a solution for, and I didn't hear that would have been a problem. That's a lack of communication. But you have to at least, just because you talk doesn't mean you're communicating. It's like the difference between hearing and listening. Right?
Yeah. My point is, though, is the idea of motivation for me is just as important as,
of course,
the idea of teaching me how to do something even better. Is like, I feel like I've always been a pretty confident guy, but that same dude was like, yeah, like, here's the idea of like coaching. It's like if someone says, he grabbed my hand. You don't have to grab my hand now, but he said,
because I don't want to reach that far.
Yeah, he said, squeeze my hand as hard as you can. And everybody, you're like, "Urgh," and he goes, okay, harder, and you go, "Urgh." And I was thinking he's like, yeah, that's coaching, and I was like, God, he's right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is.
Because he said you squeeze as hard as you can, and he said harder, and you did it harder.
And so, yeah, it's just that really stuck with me. Like, oh, okay. Like,
oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that one 1,000 times in the future.
I just keep thinking about it. Like, yeah, like, so for example, it's like we have our new media company that we formed, and one of our partners has some health issues, so we're trying to pick up the slack. I wouldn't even call it slack. I hate to say that word.
Yeah, you're right.
Pick up the slack. But the slack in the wind of our business, and we're trying to all pick it up. And it's like it's overwhelming me a smidge, but you, on the other hand, are just like, oh, no, we'll be fine. Like 6 months from now, we'll laugh about how.
And if you ever have an issue where you have to go, she's going to pick up the slack for you. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just, and sometimes you need an outside perspective to motivate and do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I told you guys should have started me on the contract 2 months ago.
Yeah. You're
like, Paul, we couldn't because I was moving. Okay. Look at it and go, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I just look at it and say, let's get, the basketball coach I hired, I messaged him the day before. He's like, how about tomorrow? I said, I like your style. Let's do it.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Coach up. What else do you want to do? I would like to get better at real estate as well.
I think I'm pretty much.
Well, better, involved.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm pretty much tapped out in terms of all the things because I still like my free time to be able to do nothing. I like helping the people with real estate and investing. I just feel like for me, I do everything I want to do. And
I'm getting antsy with the real estate.
I know you are. I am too.
I got some money, ready to invest. I want to get going.
I know. Have you looked?
Not in depth.
All right. Well, you're not going to find a deal unless you look.
One of our listeners emailed me a deal.
Really?
Yeah. He said we should talk about it on Deal of the Week. I don't know I held it back because I don't know the rents they're getting, what they can expect or any of that.
Well, at least show it to Andrew and he can at least request that information.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's in Columbus.
Oh, great.
One of our listeners who's listened to every podcast.
That's great. Well, it's funny because then I hear people going like, oh, on your podcast. I'm like, oh, you listen. That's great.
Yeah.
People say like, oh, on your podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be getting some guests in here, we're going to assume, some small business owners, some big business owners, to spice it up a bit, because the podcast is now just me and Paul bullshitting about basketball. No, I'm kidding. But the idea of coaching is, wouldn't you think that most people still might think that hiring a coach is admitting that there's something wrong?
Tiger Woods has a coach. LeBron James has a coach. Well, people would say LeBron James doesn't have a coach. Bad example.
I think people would say
they have trainers, though. Doesn't LeBron have a trainer?
People only turn to coaching, like, for example, in their marriage.
Cool.
When things are bad.
And by the way, I disagree with that. I always tell people the second you get married, you should start with couples counseling. To me, it's just communication. The second, not even the second you get married, the second you realize, okay, this person could be the long term for me, couples counseling. Because why let it all build up to something that you don't want it to build up to? Get communication going. I'm a big believer, and I think every married couple should be in counseling. I tell my brother and sister-in-law that all the time.
Maybe I said this before because I feel like I did, but like, yeah, the idea of marriage is like you have a certain amount of bullshit, and I have a certain amount of bullshit, and if we can both put up with it,
then we're gonna get along pretty well.
Like that's kind of what it is. Like she's never gonna do this, and I'm never gonna do this.
Well, by the way, that's not true.
Well, no matter how many times you ask, it doesn't change, or how many times she asks me, it doesn't change.
Because you're not speaking the same language.
Maybe.
It's the love languages. Have you not read the 5 love languages?
I have not, but my wife loves it.
Oh,
Sappy Paul's coming out.
Oh.
You love this.
I love this book. It may change my view on how one of the things I do very poorly that I need coaching on, Seth, is I think I try to handle everybody equally. I definitely try not to treat everybody equally. I try to handle everybody equally. That is not the right way to do things. And when I read that book, I was like, oh shit. The same thing that works for Seth will not work for me or for Mikey or for Andrew or Chris or Lisa or Mary or all these people. Mm-hmm. You got to handle everybody differently. And it's the same thing with marriage. Yeah. To you, it might be important that your wife rub your feet every night. But to her, it's important for you to say, I love you.
Yeah.
Every night. It just depends on what it is. It's filling your love tank.
You got all the buzzwords down.
I wrote the book.
Beth and I have been together 20 years now.
Good Lord. What are you, 80?
More time together than apart at 38 with a spouse.
That's true.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter and his wife just celebrated the 73rd wedding anniversary.
Man, he's never going to die. What do you think of Jimmy Carter?
I don't really know much about him.
Me neither.
Yeah, I couldn't really say anything. I'm quite sure he got blamed for way more than he should have been blamed for in the late 70s. But that's politics for you.
Yeah, you talk, speaking of late 70s, you talked last podcast about not only, there's no shift from coaching to like somewhat being entitled.
Uh-huh.
But man, oh man, I got to thinking, so my life is coming around full circle a bit, moving home and having my mom, dad passed away about 15 years ago, but having my mom back in my life, like on a semi-daily basis, and Beth's folks, and I realized how entitled I was as a child.
How so?
I got whatever I wanted. I was never punished.
Were you a bad kid?
I don't think so, no.
All right.
I mean, I never got in trouble in school, 4.0, perfect attendance, did well in sports, had some sort of internal drive to do really well in sports. So like captains of teams, all-stars, what have yous. But man, she gave me everything. And now all I'm trying to do is trying to pay her back.
But what's entitlement? Entitlement isn't getting, it's expecting.
Yeah.
Right? You can get a lot of things and not be entitled and spoiled. You can get nothing and still be entitled and spoiled. Some of the most entitled people I see are poor people. It's just the entitlement isn't a thing you can measure by looking at it. It's a behavior. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff when I was a kid, and I look at how entitled I was, but I wasn't nearly as bad as I could have been. And I look at my entitlement in the last 2 years, and I've seen it decrease, but it's still there. We're all entitled in some fashion. But entitlement isn't just a getting stuff, or it's about, like, it's just like you said, you never got. I mean, maybe you were a good kid and you just never need to be reprimanded.
Well, I see how it's transferring into my child's life now.
Yeah.
And my mom was the one that started, like, when we were on the bench in, like, hot summer days in baseball, like, overly momming us.
Yeah.
You know? And now it's just gone to the extreme.
Like what?
Like, my kids definitely do expect, like, a 9th place trophy. Yeah. And if they don't get it, like, they're sad about it. And is it sexist to say, like, I don't know if it's the dads who are giving these out. Like, it's kind of like my wife and the moms.
Moms are more
They want to make sure you're nurturing, which is great. I want that.
So,
that's
so
perfect.
Beth believes in the 9th place trophy?
Yeah.
Beth, call me.
I mean, like, I'm like, yeah, the kid doesn't. I have to sit down and explain to Gio, like, you should not be celebrating this 9th place trophy. You didn't win. Yeah, but I played. What do you mean? We put in a lot of effort. And I was like, well.
Wait, there's a different, I do want to reward that in the sense of, yeah, you went out there and you tried something. But in life, you don't get an award all the time just because you went out there and tried. Seth, if your new business fails and you declare bankruptcy, and I'm going to an extreme here, are they going to get like, oh, but you know what? Here's a nice star for you. Because
we get very few rewards, actually, when you grow up, right? I mean, I guess reward is like getting paid for what you're worth. Or
yeah.
But
yeah. Oh, nobody gets paid for their worth. They shouldn't be paid what they're worth. No one in the world should get paid what they're worth.
What do you
That's
mean?
entitlement. Why should you get paid what you're worth?
I don't know.
First off, every employee out there, listen to me really quick. If you think you should be paid what you're worth, you should be shot in the face.
That's not extreme?
No. Here's why. How does a business owner make money if they pay every single employee what they're actually worth to the company?
I don't understand.
If you make me $500,000 a year, what are you worth to me?
I see.
$500,000 a year, essentially. So if I paid you $500,000 a year, how much are you worth to me?
Well, nothing.
Zero. So why would I have you?
I see.
It sounds.
You've said this before, is when you get upset when people say, "I hate going to work and making money for my boss,"
or they say things like, "They don't pay me enough to do this." I'm like, "But they pay you. Your job is to do this work.
Go above and beyond.
Your job is to do what's asked of you within the reasonable amount of time." Now, does that mean if your boss calls you at 11 o'clock at night and says, "You need to get your ass done"? No, there's a difference between abuse and, again, it's like the whole. We're not talking about the rapists here. We're not talking about the murderers. We're talking about just every day. I'm not talking about the
therapists.
Therapists
Or the rapists.
That's right. I'll take the rapist for $400, Alex. To me, that's a sense of entitlement right there. To me, when employees say that, "Oh, I don't make enough to do that," or "I should be paid. I'm not paid what I'm worth." But anyhow, you'll be paid. To me, you get paid exactly what you're worth. Because as long as you're doing that job, you've agreed that your worth is this. If you want to go change that, go change that. Go get another job. Go start your own business. But there's risks involved with that. But everybody's paid exactly what they're actually worth. Just like athletes who make, I mean, by the way, I feel bad for these NBA players who are signing like $16 million a year contracts. I'm like, oh my God, they're only getting $16 million a year. That's how crazy NBA money's gotten.
Yeah.
Like I literally look at a guy going, oh my God, he only signed for $9.7 million a year.
Oh, the bad players make $10 million.
Yeah, I know. I would say the okay players make $10 million. I just saw a contract the other day. I was like floored because I'm like, he signed a deal for 2 years and $9.5 million and for 4.75 a year. I'm like, man, how's he going to pay his bills? Like literally that went through my freaking head because we're so used to these big numbers happening now. Anyhow, I always tell you with my father, who I love very much, he's always get upset like, oh, it's not right. These NBA players make all this money.
My mom said the same thing.
I'm saving lives.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations, Dad. You're saving lives. Congratulations. What do you want me to do? Go put a ball through a hoop. You'll get paid $20 million. I can't. Okay, then be happy. You make really good money being a doctor, saving lives.
Yeah.
What does your mom say?
Oh, she was just like, LeBron, when he was making that kind of money, it was just terrible. It's the worst. They're not worth it. These overpaid, whiny players whining on Twitter. Then he got political, LeBron, right? Like then he gets political.
And your mom probably loves that, though.
Which you love, though.
Yeah, I know.
Talking about our mothers. Podcasts with our mothers. No, but so the full circle, going back to 10 minutes ago, the full circle is like now I'm trying to figure out how I can repay my mother in her later years of life.
How are you going to do that?
Well, I mean, I have a house that we specifically bought because it had like a mother-in-law type suite, so a nice room where someone like that, someone of older stature could live. There's a bathroom right there. That was a definite like.
When's she going to move in?
Oh no, not anytime soon. She's still working.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she works third shift. She's been working for
Ma Bell, AT&T or whatever.
Yeah, Ohio Bell, AT&T for 50 years.
50 years. The same company.
Well, the company's changed a zillion times.
Of course it has.
Ohio Bell, Southern Bell, Ameritech.
Ameritech. Forgot about that. You're right.
So, but no, she started out like if you watch, like if I don't know if you ever watch, you don't have to watch Mad Men, but I love Mad Men. And so the operators who were like unplugging and plugging, that's where she started.
No.
In the 60s, unplugging and plugging. Let me connect you. And then like freaking, can you imagine freaking life back then? Oh, hello. What number are you trying to dial?
And they could listen in, or they did listen in.
Oh, yeah, really? Yeah, well, maybe so, yeah.
Didn't they have to listen in to see when the call disconnected?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could ask her. She's got a steel trap mind. My wife, too. Me, not so much. Like, I can't remember what we just talked about. But anyway, 50 years in the same company.
When's she going to retire?
Gosh, this is a whole podcast I need to ask you about.
What's that?
She's supposed to retire soon.
Uh-huh.
And she's saying, oh, all my friends take a lump sum pension. And she says, but if I get hit with a bus, I have to take the lump sum because if I take it monthly, so on and so forth. Do you have any idea what options people like this have?
Calculating. My understanding, what she's saying is true. The pension, I don't know how her.
I don't either.
But the idea of the pension is they're banking on you dying hopefully sooner rather than later because their goal is, once you're dead, you're dead. We don't have to pay the pension anymore. I don't know. Certain pensions have dollar amounts, blah, blah, blah. If they're offering her a lump sum, she's got to sit there and say, okay, how's it taxed?
Yeah, the taxes, I think it's going to really...
And then she's got to look at it and say, okay, what am I going to make? And it's a very simple calculation. I have to have all the data, but it could work out. It could not work out.
Yeah.
Maybe what she does instead is buys, a life insurance policy to support. Maybe she takes a lump sum and then buys a life insurance policy to cover. I don't know. She's 70 though, right?
She was born in 48, 71.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's worked at the same company for 50 years.
Yeah, she went to Akron East High School. I think they used to be called the Orientals, which is...
No, they didn't. They were not.
Akron East Orientals, for sure. They had a dragon with their mascot. They've changed it, of course, recently.
Well, you can't... I mean, that's not even accurate. Isn't Oriental... I forget about the insensitivity.
Well, in the 60s, I mean...
I'm talking about the accuracy of the statement. Like, anyways.
It would Look, maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was the Akron East Orientals, and they've since changed it, but not that recently.
Did she have a 401k?
I have to ask her. I can't remember.
The lump sum is a good option. I mean, but I think a lot of people are doing a lot of companies are doing the lump sum because people are living longer and longer, and that can get into a pension liability issue.
She was just worried about the taxes, which I was telling her, like, look, if you take out, call it $500,000 or something, your taxes instantly would be a lot different from what you're making right now. So you're just going to lose $140,000 of it. Instantly.
Yeah, it's a simple calculation. She just have to. We have to just figure that out.
Interesting.
And she can do that with any reasonable professional accountant. Would be like, hey, if you take the lump sum, you're going to get this.
Yeah.
If you take the yearly, you're going to get this. If you think you're going to live 15 years, you might want to take the lump sum, or you might want to calculate it and say, okay, then this.
Isn't that weird to think about?
What's that?
I'm not like having discussions with my mother about how long she's going to live.
You know, it's funny. My dad's 67 this year. He turned 67 in March. I'm not having that thought process yet of like, how much longer does he have to live? Because I really think he has 25 or 30 years left. I believe he'll live to early mid-90s. But when he's 80, it's going to be like, okay, it could happen any day. I mean, like, it happened to your father a lot younger, right?
57 he was.
Yeah. But I look at it going like, there'll be a point when we're like, like, it's 2019 right now.
Yeah.
2034 seems like a long way away for us, right?
You see how I just agreed with you? Like, yes, you're correct. Yeah, 34, it's
ridiculous. I asked
ridiculous.
you, right?
Yeah.
But that's 15 years away. But when you're 75, you're like, I could very well not see 2034.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
And by the way, they cured 9 mice of HIV. Did you see that?
No.
They took 9 mice who had like human-like characteristics they made. They injected 21 of them with this concoction, and 9 of them completely eradicated HIV. That's impressive.
Yeah. I'm sure that, like, is Africa mostly hit with, that's so
I would
huge.
imagine so. So I have two investor friends of mine. They invested in a couple of our funds. They worked at a clinic, or the one worked at a clinic. He's a doctor in Africa. He said half the town was HIV positive. And when I say half the town, I'm not talking about like 1,000 people. I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands of people. And it was half the people. Like an Akron-sized town, half of everybody had HIV.
Crazy.
But that's what we're talking about our previous podcast about Africa is going to be the next developing area where we all go and put factories in there. And why? Because those people are making 40 cents a day. And imagine they made $5 a day. They'd be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So these are the things that are going to happen over the world.
Well, to come around full circle.
You've said so full circle like 4 times this podcast.
Well, we started with coaching.
We did.
And that you offer this for real estate.
Business.
You
guys have hired me.
Yeah. 4 artists got together, made a business. Myself, my wife is one of them. And we definitely need someone who knows business and not art to help us through the business decisions.
Mm-hmm.
We can handle the art decisions. So
yeah, I trust you guys in the art decisions.
But anyway, thanks for the help.
Well, thanks for paying me.
Follow us as always on Instagram. You're on Instagram.
I'm on the ham.
At Paul Gabrail.
Paul_Gabrail, spelled like Gabrail.
Gabrail. Look him up for intriguing info.
Yeah.
We're starting to put out more content.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Busting up the podcast and getting the good stuff out of them. So stay tuned, everybody.
Peace.
Thanks, everyone. See ya. Bye. Follow us on iTunes.